Somewhere right now, someone is sitting in a hospital waiting room, realizing they spent 30 years caring about the wrong things. Somewhere right now, someone is at a funeral, thinking, I should have called more, I should have gone, I should have said it while I had the chance. And somewhere right now, maybe that someone is you, sitting there, watching this, feeling that quiet pull in your chest that says, I'm not living the way I actually want to live. Not because life is terrible, not because you're broken, just because it's so easy to forget. It's so easy to wake up, go through the motions, tell yourself later, and then look up one day and realize later never came. This video is about that. Not to scare you, not to guilt you, but to wake you up, gently, before it's too late to do anything about it. Because here's the truth most people only learn at the end. Life isn't long. And the part where you actually get to choose, that part is shorter than you think. We live our entire lives inside a lie, and the lie sounds like this. I'll do it later. Later, I'll start eating better. Later, I'll call my parents more. Later, I'll take that trip. Later, I'll tell them how I feel. Later, I'll finally start working on the thing I actually care about. Later, later, later. And the cruel thing about later is that it feels responsible. It feels like planning, like you're being smart, waiting for the right time, the right circumstances, the right version of yourself. But later is a trap, because later assumes time is infinite, and it isn't. Think about this. When you were 10 years old, summer felt endless. 3 months felt like a lifetime. Time was slow and thick and full. And then something shifted. By the time you hit your 20s, years started passing like months. Months started passing like weeks. And now, if you're honest, you can barely remember what you did 6 months ago. It just went. That's not an accident. That's how time actually works. When you're young, everything is new. New experiences expand your sense of time. But as life becomes routine, same job, same commute, same patterns, your brain stops recording as much. The days blur together and the years disappear, which means if you're living on autopilot, waiting for later, you're not just wasting today, you're wasting the only time you will ever have. And nobody warns you about this. Nobody sits you down and says, hey, those 5 years you spent dreading Monday, you don't get those back. Those nights you spent scrolling instead of creating, gone. The conversations you postponed because you were tired, some of them you'll never get the chance to have. Later doesn't wait for you to be ready. Later just becomes never. There's a palliative care nurse named Bronnie Ware who spent years caring for people in their final weeks of their lives. And she asked them, what do you regret? The answers were almost always the same. Not one person said they wished they'd worked more. Not one person said they wished they'd spent more time being stressed about things that didn't matter. What they said was this: I wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. I wish I hadn't worked so hard. I wish I'd had the courage to express my feelings. I wish I'd stayed in touch with my friends. I wish I'd let myself be happier. Read those again, slowly. These aren't complicated things. These aren't things that require money or opportunity or luck. They're choices, simple, daily choices that most of us keep postponing because we think we have time. The person who wished they'd been truer to themselves, they spent decades doing what was expected. Safe job, safe life, looking up at the end, wondering who they actually were. The person who wished they hadn't worked so hard, they missed their kids growing up, traded presents for productivity, and at the end, the productivity didn't feel like much. The person who wished they expressed their feelings, they spent their whole life swallowing words, keeping the peace, never saying the real thing. And here's what's devastating about all of this. They knew, deep down in the quiet moments, they knew they were drifting from what mattered, but they kept thinking there was more time. There wasn't. And the question isn't whether this will happen to them. The question is whether it's already happening to you. Here's where it gets personal. Most of us aren't failing at life because we're lazy or stupid or unlucky. We're failing at life because we're comfortable.
Comfortable is the real enemy. Not failure, not hardship, comfortable. Because when life is comfortable enough, when you have a job that pays the bills, a routine that keeps you going, a phone full of distractions that numb the restlessness, you stop asking the harder questions. Am I actually happy? Is this the life I would choose if I were choosing consciously? What am I building? What am I becoming? What am I leaving behind? Those questions are uncomfortable, so we avoid them. We get a little busier, we watch one more episode, we scroll a little longer. We tell ourselves things are fine. And things are fine. That's the trap. Fine is not what you're here for. Fine is not what you'll look back on and feel proud of. Nobody on their deathbed says, "I'm so glad I played it safe. I'm so glad I stayed comfortable. I'm so glad I never really tried." They say the opposite. And the difference between someone who lives a life they're proud of and someone who doesn't, it's rarely talent, it's rarely luck. It's usually one thing. They stopped treating their life like a waiting room. They stopped waiting for permission, for the right time, for someone to tell them it was okay to go after what they actually wanted. They just started, imperfect, scared, unsure, but they started. So how do you actually do this? How do you stop sleepwalking through your own life? Not with a dramatic overhaul, not by quitting everything tomorrow. That's not sustainable, and you know it. You do it with small, honest shifts, starting today. The first shift, get honest about how you're spending your time. Not how you think you're spending it, how you're actually spending it. Pull up your screen time. Look at your calendar. Look at your last 7 days. Are the things you're giving your hours to, are they the things that actually matter to you? Or are you just filling time until something better shows up? Most people are shocked when they actually look, because the gap between where their time goes and what they say they care about, it's enormous. That gap is your life leaking out. The second shift, do the thing you keep postponing. Today, one step. Not the whole thing, not a perfect plan, one step. Call the person you've been meaning to call. Write the first line of the thing you keep saying you'll write. Book the trip. Have the conversation. Start the habit. One thing today. Because here's what procrastination is really doing. It's not just delaying action. It's sending yourself a message every single day that says, this doesn't matter enough. You don't matter enough. And you start to believe it. Every day you do the thing, even imperfectly, even just a little, you send the opposite message. You matter. This matters. You're someone who follows through. That compounds, slowly, and then powerfully. The third shift, start measuring your life differently. Stop measuring by productivity, by income, by how busy you are. Start measuring by moments. How many real conversations did you have this week? How many times did you laugh until it hurt? How many evenings did you spend fully present instead of halfway somewhere else? How many times did you look up from your phone and actually take in where you are and who you're with? That's your life, right there, in those moments. Not in the metrics, not in the achievements, in the moments you were actually present for. Start counting those. Here's what I want you to take away from this. You are not behind. You are not too late. You are not too far gone. But you are not guaranteed tomorrow either. And the version of you that looks back at the end, that version deserves to see a life that was actually lived, chosen, felt, not just endured. The people you love deserve more of your presence. The dreams you've been quietly carrying deserve more of your courage. And you, the version of you that exists right now, today, deserves to stop waiting. Life is short. You know this. You've always known this. The question is what you're going to do about it. So here's what I want you to do right now. Think of one thing, just one, that you've been putting off, something that actually matters to you. Not the laundry, not an email, something real. And today, not tomorrow, not Monday, not when things calm down, take one step toward it. One call, one page, one conversation, one decision. Because the life you want isn't waiting for you to be ready. It's waiting for you to begin. If this hits something in you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe if you want more of this, and drop a comment telling me the one thing you're starting today. Let's not waste another day waiting for later. Let's go.